catchfarts, eyeservants, gigglemugs and feckfuls. A desk full of descriptions for your work colleagues. Staff, too vanilla. A busyness, a bit confusing perhaps. In truth, there is no enduring collective noun for a group of office workers or employees, which is probably quite fitting, for a visit to any workplace will usually prove that it houses a panoply of personalities, from the unquenchable chatterbox to the boss's pet, the noisy eater to the chair swiveller, and on to the prairie dogger, who is constantly snooping on others over their desk partition. It would be a mighty challenge to find a collective term that manages to encompass such variety. On the other hand, if you find yourself in need of some colourful vocabulary to describe the personalities around you, then look no further than the Historical Dictionary. Here you will find a wealth of epithets and descriptors for those colleagues you always want to have beside you, and those you run a mile from to hide behind the water dispenser. Let's start with the boss's favourite, one who fawningly flatters at all times. In the 17th century, any obsequious colleague would have been known as a catchfart, a mocking epithet for a foot servant or page who followed their master or mistress so closely they were in the firing line for more than they bargained for. Struthonian is a term for the employee who resolutely buries their head in the sand whilst mumbling, "Problem? What problem?" This highly useful noun is based on the Latin struthio, meaning ostrich. On to the eye servant, an employee who, quite simply, only ever gets down to work when the boss is looking. Shakespeare introduced us to the notion of a rudesby for someone always looking for an argument. In the 17th century there was also the idlesby, lewdsby, sneaksby and shawby, who was presumably very smug. The potential, of course, is endless. Depending on your point of view, the Victorian slang term gigglemug for a habitually smiling face might either describe the cheery colleague who never lets anything get them down, or one whose relentlessly upbeat attitude never fails to release your inner curmudgeon. Positives are much harder to come by in the dictionary than negatives. The wonderful feckful is one of the few, a word that has somehow been abandoned in favour of its undesirable offspring, feckless. Feckful describes the colleague everyone wants on their team, for feck means energy, efficiency and vigour.